no actual reason to get married. It can complicate things. I have some friends that just have a woman they love and they had kids and they just didn't get married. I find them happier than those that get married.
There's something about it. I don't know what it is, but I feel like once you put the marriage title on it, there's just this
like
added pressure
too, right? Yeah.
that like the relationship doesn't need.
Did you hear about this new food that like completely destroys sex drive in women?
No.
Wedding cake.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's taking the dating world by storm. Women are in full panic mode as more and more men are choosing to walk away from relationships and the games being played. But before we get into why this is happening and what it means for the future, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of these hard-hitting truths. Let's talk about what's really going on as men are taking control and stepping away from the madness.
Women are not desirable right now. Everyone's a Kim Kardashian clone. I asked you earlier, what don't men want? And you said promiscuity. Well, that seems about the only thing that's being offered right now. When I open my Instagram and I've got butt cheeks and I'm going, people are like, I don't understand why no one wants to marry. This woman's been married 4 times. I'm like, well, I can understand it, because even if men think they want it in the short term, when you see a girl, she's half naked, she looks good. Yeah, sure, you probably do want to have sex with her. I bet you're wired that way. You're hardwired that way. Yeah. But then what happens after you have sex with her and you realize that so did 20 other dudes
100%.
in the same week, you don't want her.
You nailed it. You're absolutely not.
This time, it's Candace Owens who's leading the charge, and she's spot on with her take. She's out here calling out modern women for being nothing more than Kardashian clones. And she's right. She's talking about how these women are flaunting their bodies all over social media, thinking that's what makes them valuable, and wondering why men aren't sticking around. Candace is sharp. She knows that this hypersexualization and focus on looks isn't going to lead to real relationships. Instead, it's leading to short-term flings and a whole lot of broken expectations. And then you've got Andrew Tate jumping in to back her up. He's saying exactly what needs to be said. Men might be attracted to that Kardashian image at first, but it's just surface level. They see a woman half-dressed looking good, and yeah, maybe they want her for the night. But that's where it ends. Once a man realizes she's been giving the same show to 20 other guys that week, the respect's gone, the attraction fades, and he's moving on. Tate's all about how men don't want a woman who's been passed around, and in this moment, he's fully in agreement with Candace. Together, they're exposing this modern lie that women have been fed, that promiscuity and attention-seeking online equals empowerment. Candace is saying it loud and clear. It's not. It's actually devaluing these women in the eyes of men who want something more than just a one-night stand. Tate backs her up by reminding everyone that men want exclusivity. They want something that feels unique and special, not something that's been passed around the block. So, in this conversation, you've got Candace Owens leading the charge against this Kardashian-era culture, and Tate coming in with his no-nonsense raw agreement. They both see the same issue. These women are confusing attention for value, and that's why they're struggling to find real, long-term commitment from men. It's a powerful combination of perspectives, and they're absolutely right. You can be desirable in the short term, but without self-respect and exclusivity, no man is sticking around for the long haul.
So I just did a little video asking men's opinions on dating and whatever. And this right here was such a common response. And if this is how like 80% of men are viewing dating, and my negative aspect on dating and how females view it, because we exactly know that this is going on, that men will pretty much, why settle down if they can get cheated on, as opposed to just screwing everyone on the dating apps and not having to put in any time, effort, or pretty much anything that involves an actual long-term relationship. So if men view it this way and then women have their skewed like way of thinking about dating, it's just this vicious negative cycle of dating, and this is why we're all doomed, men and females. Can we change this?
Let me tell you why she's mad. Because this guy's spitting facts. He replies to her video and lays it out. Why should men commit? Why should we even bother getting married if women are giving everything away for free? There's no reason for a man to step up and commit if you're out here just sleeping around, handing out exactly what he wants with no effort. And here's the truth. If you give guys what they want right away, they don't have to put in the work, they don't have to stay, and they don't have to commit. Women are constantly talking about wanting serious relationships, but if you're out here giving it away to every guy who shows up, why would any man take you seriously? The truth stings, and that's why it makes her angry. She knows he's right.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Modern woman gets salty over men not committing anymore.
Let's start right away.
This is my official announcement that I'm entering my single girl celibacy era because dating is horrendous. It's never worked for me. I've tried meeting people in person. I've tried meeting people through others. I've tried dating people I've already known. I've tried Hinge and Bumble and like all the things. Nothing works. And you know what? No matter what you say, like looking for short term, looking for long term, looking for a life partner, blah, 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 whatever. You know what happens? A man reads that. It goes to the retina, into their brain, and is like casual. No matter what. You could be like looking for a serious life partner to marry next week. Casual. And when I say, apparently, let's go out and do something on Friday, that goes into the man's ear, and the way their brain processes that comes out as, come over to my house and do me on Friday. Sir, I don't need you for that. And that's what your right hand is for. So have at her, you know. Anyway, I'll probably be on the apps next week, but this is my vow of celibacy as of right now, so let's see how that goes.
Here's the truth, and it's harsh. By the time women hit their 30s and 40s, the dating game has changed, and a lot of them are only realising it once they've lost power in the market. The reality is, most men in their 30s aren't out here looking for a life partner. Why? Because they know they've got better options, and when a guy does settle for a woman in her 30s or 40s, chances are he's probably not that important to her. She's still chasing the top-tier guys, but now she's losing her grip. It's wild to see how women suddenly start yelling for a relationship the moment their power over men fades. Why is that? Where was all this talk 10 years ago? Back when they were in their early 20s, they had the dating world in their hands. But now that they're facing the reality of age and competition, now they want commitment. Come on, you should have been focusing on this back when you were 20, not waiting until you're losing the game. In your early 20s, that's when you should have been pulling the trigger, when your chances of landing a high-value man were at their peak. But instead, they hit the button on the slot machine too late. And now they're wondering why they're not hitting the jackpot.
In a
You waited
healthy
too long and the
marriage,
game's moved
you
on.
have sex. And unless there are extenuating circumstances, a reason why that can't be, if both people are physically able to have sex, they should be. That is the mode of a healthy relationship. However, many of us get into what we call an intimacy withdrawal. It's like our bank accounts, our emotional accounts, our physical accounts, our relational accounts have become over withdrawn. We are in a negative balance. Leave a comment if this sounds familiar to you. Like, here's an example of what we often see. Sometimes maybe a wife and a husband will be home at the end of the day, and the wife wants to share something with her husband, and the husband's on his phone and he's checked out. And the wife does not feel heard and does not feel like her husband is emotionally supported.
All right, let's be real here. Men have stuff to do. We're out here grinding, working long hours, handling business, trying to make things happen. So yeah, sometimes we come home, and the last thing on our minds is sitting down to hear about every single detail of the day. We're tired, mentally checked out, and need to unwind. And you know what? That's not something to apologize for. Here's the deal. Men are carrying weight. We've got responsibilities, we're building careers, and frankly, we don't always have the luxury to sit down and have a deep conversation every night. And just because we're on our phone for a minute doesn't mean we're checked out from the relationship. It's not that we don't care. It's that we've been dealing with everything outside the house all day, and we need a second to recharge. The truth is, some women expect us to be emotionally available 24/7, and that's just not realistic. She's complaining that she doesn't feel heard, but maybe she should take a step back and realize the guy's been grinding all day for both of them. He's out there handling the tough stuff, making sure things are good financially, keeping the household secure. That's his way of showing up. It doesn't mean he has to be emotionally available every single second. Look, just because we don't want to sit down and talk about feelings at the end of a long day doesn't mean we're checked out from the relationship. Men contribute in their own way, and sometimes that way is through action, through working hard and providing. So yeah, maybe cut the guy some slack. He's doing his part, and sometimes that should be enough.
Husband, wife, they're supposed to be up here, above almost everything else, including yourself. So I know that if he doesn't want me to do something, he has a good reason for it, and I know that he has my best interest at heart, just like I do for him. So I can be independent, opinionated, and be my own woman while still respecting and listening to my man.
So many women are not reacting well to this, but she did not say, if my man says no, I listen. What she said was, I respect my husband because he respects.
This is exactly what's missing in so many relationships today. Respect. This woman gets it. She's saying that her husband comes first, above almost everything else, even herself sometimes. And guess what? That's how it should be. A relationship is about mutual respect and understanding that your partner has your best interest at heart. She's not out here saying, I just blindly follow my man. No, she's saying she trusts him because she knows he respects her in return. Too many women today are quick to throw around the idea of independence like it means never listening to their man. But that's not independence, that's stubbornness. This woman's saying she can be independent, have her own opinions, be her own person, while still respecting her husband's decisions. Why? Because she knows he's got her back, that he's looking out for her best interests. It's about balance, people. She's not losing her identity by respecting him. In fact, it's the opposite. It's because of that mutual respect that their relationship works. But here's the issue. Too many people, especially some modern women, don't like hearing this. They don't react well because they've been conditioned to think that listening to your man is somehow a weakness. It's not. If your man respects you and you trust him, there's nothing wrong with taking his opinion seriously. Ladies, if your guy is making decisions with your best interest in mind, why wouldn't you trust him? This woman gets it. She understands that being a strong, independent woman doesn't mean disregarding her husband. It means knowing when to listen, when to let him lead, because a real man is always going to have your best interests at heart. That's what a partnership is supposed to be about.
Time where you felt that you failed, that you learned a valuable lesson from?
That's such a hard question. Getting divorced was a big lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come? What happened?
For a long time, like in your 20s and 30s, like getting married was a big goal, and I got married. And then I realized that that's not everything. Mm-hmm. And what I learned through being married was that knowing who you are, knowing your values, and knowing your non-negotiables is so much more important than anything else. It could be more important than the person that you love. And that was a huge lesson for me.
So do you think you didn't know yourself before getting married?
I think I didn't really know how important my values were to me before I got married.
What is true love like, in your opinion?
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Why did it not work, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I wanted to work so much that I was willing to overlook aspects of him and myself that didn't align with my true values. And that's why.
All right. So here we've got a woman opening up about a tough subject, divorce. She's talking about how getting married was such a huge goal for her in her 20s and 30s, something she thought would be the pinnacle of her life. But what happened? She realized, after the fact, that marriage isn't everything. She learned a big lesson that knowing yourself, your values, and your non-negotiables is way more important than just being in love or hitting some relationship milestone. Now, from a man's perspective, this is something we've seen time and time again. People jump into marriage thinking it's the next step, but they don't take the time to really figure out who they are or what they stand for. She admits she didn't fully understand the importance of her values before tying the knot. That's a huge mistake. And it's not just women making this mistake, men do it too. They get caught up in the idea of marriage, of being with someone without really considering if their core values align. And here's the key point. She says she wanted it to work so much that she was willing to overlook red flags, both in him and in herself. That's a dangerous game. If your values don't align, no amount of wanting it to work is going to fix that. Men know this too. You can't just power through fundamental differences. Love isn't enough if you're not on the same page about what really matters. She learned the hard way that compromising on her non-negotiables led to the downfall of her marriage. What's interesting is, when she's asked about true love, she admits she's still figuring it out. And that's a strong point here. Too many people think they know what love is, rush into commitments, and only realize later that they didn't fully understand themselves or the relationship. That's why so many marriages fall apart. Because people don't take the time to really know themselves before jumping in. So guys, take note. Don't get caught up in the societal pressure of getting married just because you think it's the right thing to do. If you don't know who you are, what your values are, and what you absolutely can't compromise on, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's not about finding the perfect person. It's about finding the person who aligns with your values and your vision for the future. Otherwise, you're just setting up both of you for heartbreak down the road.
We were separated because I was having a panic attack and he was my safe person. him coming to pick me up even though I was the one divorcing him. I completely understand this. I did it several times. I struggle with the sadness of the decision, but it was needed. So your ex-husband is needed, but he's your ex-husband. Mine didn't come. I go through them alone now, and it hurts every time. There is a disconnect happening where women are leaving their men yet expecting them to stay and keep performing their husbandly duties. Do you think if he called her having a panic attack that she'd even pick up the phone? Being expected to constantly provide and care for people who have given up on them is not good for men's souls and their growth. It is beating them down mentally. Even if it's not your intention, it is so incredibly manipulative to break up with a guy. Manipulative.
When you're picking up 10 toes down, better step into my digits up. When you step into my digits up. When you're picking up 10 toes down, better step into my digits up.